I made a Super Metroid tribute album live on Twitch using only free software. So it was winter 2020. I'm sure like a lot of people, I was feeling isolated, stuck inside. So much of the music that I make is a collaboration. I co-write songs with friends. I go back and forth with creative directors and people who make games. I was just missing this sense of feedback. What would happen if I made an album live on Twitch so everybody could see the process? I was trying to have fun with it. I was also trying to teach people about stuff. I had no experience streaming on Twitch. I was pretty self-conscious about people seeing the flubs and the errors and the mess-ups and stuff like that. It's also kind of boring sometimes when you're making music, so I was self-conscious about that. And I had to talk through every decision that I was making to try to engage people and to try to let people in. So it was more of a back and forth, not a passive experience.
Duplicate the gate signal from MIDI, so we have it being sent over here to the audio ADSR, and then we have it sent.
The reason why I used only free software is I wanted to sort of remind people that making music doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It seemed like a fun challenge. I've got another video, which I'll link to in the comments below, where I talk about the best software and the best programs that I was able to find. Originally, it was going to be this sort of ambient, spacey, sci-fi, vibey type thing. Lots of synth arpeggios and big reverbs. But at some point I started to add drums, and I was really nervous because drums can quickly change the vibe of something. It can basically change the genre. You can add drums and it will feel more rock, or you got drums that feels more cinematic and trailery. And in this case, I started to add drums and it started to feel like hip hop.
Okay, let's just mess. I'm not loving the sound of this clap right now.
When I was young, the first music I ever learned how to make was basically hip hop or electronic music. I got an MPC. You might be able to see it in the background. This is how I started to learn how to make music before anything. Eventually, I got interested in cinematic music and orchestral music and all that kind of stuff, but somewhere sort of deep inside of me, these tricks, they never go anywhere. I always think about this quote. Steve Martin once was talking to Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson said, quote, "You'll use everything you knew." So Steve Martin was talking about these little juggling tricks that he learned when he was a kid, little magic tricks and stuff like that. And he later became a big comedian, but he wound up in big movies that he was doing. Much later in his life, he used those same tricks. As artists, whoever we are when we start is not necessarily who we're going to be later. We can grow, we can expand. We don't need to pigeonhole ourselves into one sound or one genre. But at the same time, these little tricks that we learn, they never go away. When I was working on this project, I started to do things that I hadn't done in over a decade. Dusting off little techniques, sample techniques and drum techniques and stuff like that. It just worked. It just made sense for the music that I was making at the time. Sometimes I had a moderate amount of people watching. Some people would tell me that they put it on in the background when they were working on their projects. I got some nice feedback. People would tell me, "Oh, that's a cool sound." And I'd be like, "Well, you know what? That is a cool sound." And I would go deeper into that direction. And hopefully some people learned something. Hopefully I demystified the act of making music in some way or another. The album, the link is below. You can check it out. You can also check out that other video where I talk about the free software. Let me know what you think.